Hey y'all, it's Greg here from the Binge List, where we make recommendations for TV shows and movies that you can access from the comfort of your own home. So I wanted to make videos like this, so next time you get a chance to sit down and enjoy a TV show and movie, it's actually a good one. So today we're going to go through what you should be watching on Apple TV Plus right now. I'm going to go through 10 different options for you of series that are on the service today that you can jump in and binge right away. So stop scrolling, stop turning things off halfway through because they suck, and hang out with us. And in that same amount of time, we're going to go through these 10 options, and we've gone through a ton of different genres. So I know there'll be something on this list for you. So let's check out the first one on the list. The first one on this list is actually only recently released, but definitely hooked me in right away, and that is Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. I am personally a huge fan of giant monster movies and TV shows, but it's mind-blowing just to see how far streaming services have come with their television and movies. And all the shows that are on this list have raised the bar in one way or another, and this show is absolutely no different. This show doesn't feel like a lot of filler, like a lot of the streaming services that have come in the past that kind of appeared. And so far, the story actually builds and develops really, really well. You can already see that Apple spared no expense in the making of this. Legitimately, each episode is of movie quality. To me, one of the coolest aspects of this show is I think it's really cool to see the human side of the emergence of these monsters. We get a glimpse of that back in 2014 during the original Godzilla movie, but since then the human element really has gone out the window in favor of giant monsters fighting each other. I love a giant monster fight as much as the next fan, of course, and this is Godzilla, so yeah, there's definitely going to be those types of elements to the show, but how would society move forward after monsters that are literally destroying cities and earth-shattering appear on Earth? So similar to how we saw kaijus handled in Pacific Rim. What does that look like? So this show is set in a time before and after the events that are depicted in Godzilla and King Kong films up to this point. This show follows a different group of scientists and adventurers who are tasked with investigating and containing various monstrous creatures, referred to as mutos. All of you that are fans of the genre know, but that have emerged around the world. And it does a really good job intertwining with those movies that have come before it. The show's narrative unfolds across multiple timelines. It's weaving together the stories of the original Monarch organization back in the 1950s and present-day efforts of the successors of these people. The CGI brings the monsters to life. It's stunning, blending CGI and practical effects and on-location shots. So the creatures are truly awesome so far, and their presence does add this element of excitement, and it kind of feels like they could be part of the world. Really, really there. So this show's assembled a cast that's really, really strong, tons of strong performances. People like Kurt Russell, his son, Anders Holm, Kirsty Clemens, to name a few, but the writers do a good job of making all the characters seem well developed so far and engaging. And Monarch: Legacy of Monsters is a must-watch for monster hunting adventure fans and also fans of just the monsterverse that King Kong and Godzilla have kind of been bringing together up to this point.
This is the world we live in. Monsters are an inescapable reality.
Next on the list is Lessons in Chemistry. This is a period drama that offers a fresh perspective on empowerment and the pursuit of dreams. With its strong lead performance from Brie Larson, it'll definitely resonate with those of you that enjoy a character-driven drama. It's set in the 1950s. Lessons in Chemistry follows the story of Elizabeth Zott. She's a brilliant but undervalued chemist who dreams of making a difference in the world. However, her ambitions are constantly thwarted by the limitations imposed on women in this era. Determined to prove her worth, Elizabeth actually takes an unexpected turn and lands a job as a host of a popular cooking show, where she uses her scientific knowledge to revolutionize the culinary world. The show subtly highlights the challenges faced by women in the 1950s, where their aspirations were often overshadowed by social norms, gender stereotypes. Elizabeth is determined to break free and pursue her scientific ambitions, despite all the naysaying. Brie Larson shines as Elizabeth Zott, really giving this character a combination of intelligence and determination, and we all know that Larson can carry a story all on her own, but she doesn't really have to. This is a great supporting cast that's equally as impressive, with standout performances from Lewis Pullman playing aside of her, Patrick Walker, and Aja Naomi King. The show actually does a really, really good job transporting you back to this era. It's very vibrant back in the 1950s with this show. The show's production and design team does a really good job capturing the essence of the decade, bringing you really into Elizabeth's world. The use of color and lighting is particularly effective, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere that complements the show's lighthearted tone as well. One thing that really, really surprised me as part of this show is it's actually really, really funny, but not over the top, not slapstick humor or anything like that. Larson's character doesn't have that funny character feel to her, But the humor stems from quips and wit that she uses when she notices things, let's say odd things in her mind. And she has a very Sheldon Cooper-esque feel to her at sometimes, but not as over-the-top sitcom-y. But the humor is subtle, adds to the narrative without distracting you from the show is all about. So engaging storyline, check. Strong performances, check. Captivating visuals, check. Definitely worth checking out this charming and entertaining period drama.
I would like to offer you a job as the host of our cooking show.
At a glance, Ted Lasso might have seemed destined for this stupidity and jam-packed cliches, an American taking over the fate of a struggling UK football club, what I would call soccer, to be honest. But the show has captured the hearts of audiences worldwide, so it absolutely has a place on this list. This series follows the story of Ted Lasso, an extremely over-the-top optimistic small-town American football coach who is unexpectedly hired to coach a professional soccer team in England. Despite his lack of knowledge and experience in the sport, Ted's infectious enthusiasm and unwavering belief in his players win over an initially very skeptical team and the community around it. As Ted navigates the challenges of coaching in a different country and culture, he forms deep connections with his players and he works towards reaching their full potential both on and off the field. Jason Sudeikis is a great in this role. He's a ton of iconic roles before this, but Ted Lasso, he delivers an unforgettable performance, to be honest, capturing the character's infectious optimism, unwavering kindness, and underlying vulnerability. The supporting cast is equally as impressive too, but with standout performances from Brett Goldstein, Juno Temple, Hannah Waddingham as Rebecca Welton, the team's owner who's initially hiring Ted just out of spite. The show uses very inviting cinematography and music that keeps you feeling upbeat and inspired throughout this and helping maintain the show's original essence. So the show's exploration of cultural differences between the United States and England is probably my favorite part. It's insightful and extremely humorous, mixing in American and English humor. As he attempts to navigate the British way of life, it often leads to hilarious misunderstandings that you'll get to see throughout this one. And the humor is not super in your face, but it's intelligent. It's appealing to a wide range of viewers because the show's jokes are often based on character observations and situational irony rather than relying on crude or any type of offensive humor. Ted Lasso is heartwarming comedy drama that offers refreshing change of pace for a lot of the negativity and kind of the darker humor that we see in all too many shows. With its engaging storyline, endearing characters, and uplifting messages, the show has become a beloved favorite among audiences of all ages. When I looked up reviews of this show, it was positivity at all different angles, so definitely a must-watch for anyone seeking a feel-good show.
You coaching football, you are a legend for doing something so stupid. I mean, it's mental. They're gonna murder you.
Next on our list is Hijack, starring Idris Elba. And I know some of the others on this list will probably never happen, like Giant Monsters, for example. But those other shows are designed around science fiction and accepting just from the get-go that this is not real. So I want to start this off by saying this one can be far-fetched around the things that happen and the plot behind it sometimes. So I say this mostly because the concept is set more in the real world. But if you can look past the obvious flaws, or those obvious flaws, it is certainly a show that you can enjoy. It is a character-driven show that is simple, yet engaging, with some seriously intense moments throughout it that keep you on your toes. So Hijack unfolds in real time as Sam Nelson, an accomplished corporate negotiator, tries to save his passengers and crew from a hijacked flight from Dubai to London. The show's narrative is divided into 7 approximately hour-long episodes, each representing 1 hour of the flight, creating a sense of urgency that keeps you engaged throughout, waiting for that next episode, what's going to happen. So Hijack boasts strong characters, each with their own motivations and fears throughout it, and the show uses flashbacks to provide you context of why they're doing this and what's that motivation behind it, adding depth and narrative to the plot and the characters themselves. Idris Elba delivers an amazing performance as Sam Nelson, as he always seems to do. The supporting cast is equally as impressive at times, with solid performances from Neil Mescal, Ben Miles, Max Beasley, along with others along the way. Hijack visually is really cool and definitely an appeal of this show for sure, with a focus on creating this like claustrophobic tension within the airplane cabin that helps convey the urgency and disorientation of the situation, putting you right alongside the characters too. It makes you kind of feel weary in some situations. So the show's overall visuals complement the intense nature of the plot. Hijack, yes, has its flaws, almost like every other show does, but I do believe it's 100% worth binging and jumping into, and it'll probably be better watched as this long 7-hour movie versus week to week like I did when it was released. It's a good show, delivers suspense, drama, and some compelling characters that you can connect with.
Good morning, everyone. This is Captain Robin Allen speaking. Flight time today, 6 hours, 54 minutes.
This one here is best enjoyed when you're consuming it via binging, and that's because it has extremely good cliffhangers. It makes it hard to wait week to week to see what happens next, and you can also lose out on some of the subplot and some of the stakes of the situations when you wait week to week, just because it kind of becomes background noise. And it is a captivating and post-apocalyptic thriller with intricate world building and suspenseful plot, and that is Silo. I do want to say I really was intrigued by the concept of the series, even from the trailer, because we have tons and tons of end of the world shows and apocalypse movies that seem to be recycled over and over again. This appeared more mysterious, and you had to put the pieces together yourself, and I really, really like that about a series, and it definitely didn't disappoint. Silo leaves you in the dark with the end of the world and what's going on outside the silo for majority of this entire run. It can certainly be confusing, but it's a good confusing. It keeps you wanting more and kind of putting the pieces together each episode. So, set in a dystopian world where the last remnants of humanity reside in this vast underground silo, protected from the toxic and deadly environment outside. However, the silo's inhabitants are not free. They are governed by the strict and rules and regulations, and any attempt to violate these rules results in extremely severe consequences. The story follows Juliet. She's an engineer turned sheriff who unintentionally goes down this weird coincidental path that leads her to really start questioning everything and seeking out answers. I was somewhat addicted to the series when I jumped in, just for a variety of reasons, but one thing that really had me invested was how outstanding the set design was, and it really, really brings you into this world. It's reflecting these harsh realities of the post-apocalyptic world, and the use of lighting and cinematography to create this sense of isolation within the silo. Even when other people are around, it has this eerie, solitary confinement feel to it, if that makes any sense. Of course, the casting and performances are great. Rebecca Ferguson delivers powerful as Juliet. Impressive performance from supporting cast like Common, Tim Robbins, Dave Aiello, and Ian Glenn. It's definitely worth investing your time into. If you haven't started watching this show right now, I'm happy for you because you're able to binge it. You don't have to wait week to week like I did. And equally happy that you get to see the ending for the first time. I know this will leave you eager for more, which is great because they have renewed it for a new season.
We do not know how long we have been underground, or who built the silo.
Hey everybody, if you're enjoying the list so far, we'd appreciate it if you take a second to like, to comment, to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does really help us get our recommendations out to others who are looking for a great night watching TV shows or movies. But let's get back to the list and check out the back half of it. On to the last thing that he told me, and to be honest here, this is one that I wasn't originally interested in. My wife actually twisted my arm to get me to watch it with her, and don't tell her this, but she was right. It was a great series, and I really, really enjoyed it. The show starts off as this mystery, so it's intriguing and suspenseful thriller with twists and turns, some predictable, others that I really wasn't expecting, and that gets you hooked in right from the start. The last thing he told me follows Hannah Bailey, a woman trying to piece her life together after her husband Owen mysteriously disappears. As her and her stepdaughter delve into her past, or his past, they uncover secrets, and a lot of them, to be honest. The show's narrative unfolds through multiple timelines, revealing Hannah's present-day investigation where she's uncovering these secrets, and Owen's activities leading up to the disappearance. And they use flashbacks that gradually add a whole bunch of layers to the already intriguing narrative. The approach creates a sense of urgency and intrigue and mystery, keeping you, the viewer, kind of engaged in the investigation, and you're unraveling the truth just as they are. Like most of Apple's shows, the last thing that he told me features a strong cast. Obviously, Jennifer Garner is great, kind of helps carry along this show, but then Jamie Lannister's in this one. It's not really Jamie, it's Nicola Coster-Waldau, Angourie Rice, Aisha Tyler, and Augusto Aguilera. They're all great supporting Garner throughout this show. The last thing that he told me did leave me wanting a few things different, like a little bit slow at times, which I understand. It is a character-driven show that requires talking and building up to different moments, but, and I want to point this out, it was weird to me, and I don't love to poke holes in things that are minor, but this was something that was very noticeable to me. It seemed like this show would have been better suited for it to be set in maybe 1985 or sometime before cell phones, because the writers and the characters forget that they have cell phones most of the time and they can access Google or call each other. To me, it felt like they were really stretching those situations and avoiding technology to a point that it was extremely noticeable. So that can be a little annoying, but if you can look past that like I did, the last thing he told me, it was a great show, and despite that, Overall, it's a suspenseful thriller. It keeps you engaged, great acting, and a great story. Well worth the watch.
I haven't heard from Owen in 24 hours.
Your husband is not who you think he is.
Okay, so on to something totally different. And this one is a witty and entertaining murder mystery comedy that stands out for its unique storytelling approach and all-star cast. And the weird part is most people that I talk to about this show have never heard of it because it's just maybe overlooked or something that Apple didn't promote that well. I'm not 100% sure why, but it's great. And this series is called The Afterparty. It's a fresh take on a traditional format of whodunit murder mystery. The series is perfect for those of you that are looking to binge something that's just a good time. It currently has 2 seasons that follow the aftermath of 2 different murders, with each episode retelling the events of the night from the perspective of a different character and through a different distinct film style, basing the film style in each episode on the character telling the story and kind of visualizing it through their own eyes. This style allows you to see the events unfold from multiple angles, uncovering new clues and gaining insights into the characters, with some weird moments or super weird moments and all kinds of hidden secrets along the way. But The Afterparty has a ton of amazing humor, all kinds of laugh out loud moments, and even brought me to tears a few times laughing. But beneath the writing that is comedic gold, you get a seriously impressive cast along with it that seemed to have tons of chemistry. The characters were all very, very likable. Sam Richardson, Tiffany Haddish, and Zoe Chow carry their characters from season 1 to season 2. They're the only kind of stable characters throughout this. But there are tons of stars in both first and second season. You've got Dave Franco, Jack Whitehall, Ike Barinholtz, and Zach Woods. I was a bit concerned and even annoyed a few times in this at the beginning of some of the episodes when they were flip-flopping styles because I wasn't 100% certain on it right at the beginning. There were some musicals, some 50s detective shows, and Western episodes. And at first, I wasn't, like I said, 100% thrilled, but they do such a good job with this, the visual styles that complement the genre bending, first hindering it, with each episode adopting the aesthetics and cinematic technique from the specific film, but not over the top because you can tell that it's being parodied to fit the narrative of this show. So The Afterparty, it's clever, it's entertaining, it's an intriguing murder mystery comedy that breathes new life into this repetitive genre. So with all that said, it certainly makes it a must-watch for you guys. It's for fans who like whodunits, murder mysteries, and just humor in general. This is a great show.
This is a murder.
Another hard left turn from the last one that we talked about here, and this one is The Servant. This is a show that is very creepy. It's unsettling psychological thriller that is hard to keep your eyes away from once you start watching it. This series might not appeal to everyone though, because it's ambiguous nature, it's unreliable narration throughout, and it kind of has a slow build at moments, but it might not be for everyone. It got me in episode 1 with this unique blend of horror, mystery, and drama, but that's something that I'm very interested in. So I believe that makes it a compelling watch for those of you that enjoy mind-bending series. So The Servant follows the Turner family. They're a wealthy couple in Philadelphia who are grieving the loss of their infant son. In an attempt to cope with this, they hire this mysterious nanny named Leanne to carry a lifelike doll around that they treat as their real child and take care of it. Most of the show happens in the Turners' home in Philadelphia, where Leanne's presence grows more unsettling with every episode, where every interaction with her and the family becomes awkward, cringy, and just weird. The boundaries between reality and illusion begin to blur. The family is forced to confront their deepest fears and darkest secrets throughout this series. The main cast of Toby Kebbell, Neil Tiger Free, Rupert Grint, and Lauren Ambrose are great together, tons of chemistry, each delivering this chilling and captivating performance with this air of mystery in everything that they're doing. And the whole show features a strong cast, of course, great actors who play all the different characters. But outside of Ron Weasley, there are people that I've seen in shows and movies, but I honestly could not tell you their names without looking them up. The Turners' luxurious Philadelphia townhome serves as this stark contrast to the dark and mysterious show that is slowly taking over their lives. While it's unconventional, it has a slow pace, and like I said, doesn't appeal to everyone. If you enjoy titles like The Haunting of Hill House or The Watcher, this blend of horror, mystery, this will be a rewarding experience for those of you willing to immerse yourself into it in this unsettling world.
Do you know who you welcomed into your home?
Next on the list is Dickinson. Most people who are listening to this are probably familiar with the name Dickinson. And if you're like me, it's because you thought of Charles Dickinson, who you later realized was Charles Dickens. But I digress. This is a witty comedy drama that reimagines the life of an iconic American poet, Emily Dickinson. A few things that stand out to me right from the get-go with this one is that it has an amazing soundtrack. pop culture references, and modern perspective of the time. So it's really, really cool and new age look at this show. Like many of Apple TV shows, Dickinson breathes new life into this genre that seems very traditional. It's a period piece. So Dickinson follows a rebellious and unconventional Emily Dickinson, played by Haley Steinfeld, as she navigates the challenges of adolescence, societal expectations in the 19th century, Amherst, Massachusetts. Aspiring to be a poet despite her family and father's disapproval, Emily defies the social norms. She embraces her own voice, and often through these hilariously awkward interactions with those around her. One of the funniest things to me about the show is when they're talking about a topic that is essentially from this time period, but they speak how we speak today. It's just weird and unique, and it makes me laugh every single time. But the show challenges the traditional portrayal of Emily Dickinson as this reclusive and melancholy figure in history, instead showcasing her as this vibrant, witty, and passionate young woman who is determined to express herself on her own terms. It boasts a strong cast, similar to Servant, where the faces are familiar, but the names are not these household actors. Dickinson's visual style is both stylish and old-fashioned, blending period costumes and modern-day aesthetics along with the modern elements such as the music, the vernacular, the pop culture references I'd mentioned. This makes the show refreshing. It's engaging, and the aesthetic complements the show's tone, and the modern sensibilities make it more relatable. Hate to admit it, but this is another one that my wife got me into. But it's enjoyable. It's a funny coming-of-age story that offers this refreshing take on the life of an American literary icon that I do now know about. With its witty dialogue, endearing characters, and the perfect marriage of the familiar and the new, the show is definitely worth jumping into.
Yeah, he just takes it a little bit too far.
Yes! Come on now. Where do you get that fire from?
Now, let's take a look at the last one on this list here, and that is C, a super unique dystopian sci-fi drama that explores the power of the human connection in a world without sight. The series is set in a post-apocalyptic future wherein all of humanity is blind. And in this world without sight, humans have adapted to rely on their other senses like hearing and feeling for communicating and surviving. The story follows Baba Voss, played by Jason Momoa, who delivers a powerful performance, conveying his normal charisma and his strength, but he's also very compassionate in this one. He's this fierce warrior, he's a leader of a small tribe, but he's protecting his adopted children who are rumored to be able to see. I know a lot of people have issues with the fact that these people were blind and they're continuing some form of civilization, and some of the situations can be a little bit of a stretch, as much as Godzilla, Transformers, and Avengers are a stretch. But this is science fiction. So for me, it is really interesting to explore how these humans have adapted in this world without sight, and how they've learned to rely on other senses to communicate, to hunt, to defend themselves if needed, which in this type of show is always needed. Like most of the shows, it features a strong cast. Beyond Momoa, familiar names like Dave Bautista, Alfre Woodard, and some less familiar names like Hera Himmler and Archie Mataque. If I'm saying that right, I hope so. But you get immersed in this world through a combination of the show's use of CGI, seamlessly blending into the real-world locations, creating this sense of authenticity and real immersion into their world. And the production team's set and costume designs are amazing, reflecting the show's post-apocalyptic setting, using what they can to make them seem like they're really in this world. So if you can accept the sci-fi explanation of "because I said so," then C is a great dystopian drama, stunning visual effects, compelling characters, and an engrossing story that makes it a must-see for fans of this genre.
Centuries from now, almost all humans have lost the ability to see.
Hey everybody, I want to thank you for hanging out with us for the entirety of this list, and I hope you have a great show picked out that you're going to check out next time you turn on Apple TV+. If you're still looking for recommendations, you can check out one of our other videos, but leave us a comment down below and let us know what show you're checking out. So we'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.